I think that's working. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Twilley. I'm the director of the Women's Business Center at Maryland Capital Enterprises. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're having a little technical issues, but hopefully we'll get everything worked out and get this thing going. We don't want to hold you up tonight. But just to give you a little information about Maryland Capital Enterprises, we're a nonprofit based in Salisbury. We also have an office in Baltimore, and we assist entrepreneurs that are getting started in business or if they're already in business and trying to expand. We do business consulting, marketing consulting, small business workshops such as this, training workshops. We do small business loans, and we cover all the Eastern Shore of Maryland, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County. So we also help with business plans, cash flow projections. We do have a YouTube channel, so we record all of our trainings, and we post those on our Maryland Capital Enterprise YouTube channel. So I will put that information, my information in the chat and our website in the chat. So if you guys need assistance or have any questions, you can reach out to me. And I am going to introduce Dr. Amy Stewart and let her, she's the owner of Night Watch Child Care Center in Salisbury. And I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about herself and get started. What happened? Just bear with us, please. I think she got disconnected again. Hopefully she'll be signing back on. I know she is away, and I'm away from my office, so oh, there she is. Can you hear me, Amy? You're muted.
Okay, I'm sorry. If you could make me the co-host again, and then I can share my screen again.
Okay. Well, we have a lot of people on here, so I'm excited. We haven't had this many on in a while.
That's awesome. Try this again. I don't know if it's going to let me present out of Canva, but I'm going to get started. Okay, so this session is called Streamlining Your Daycare Business with Virtual Tools. My suggestion would be, and I could send this to Lisa so she can get this out to you, is just kind of make note of the different apps and things that I'm talking about. Some of the tools are going to be free, some of them are going to be paid, but especially in daycare, what I'm noticing is that you can have phenomenal teachers, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're great with the clerical stuff or even like the tech stuff, social media, websites, things like that. And those are things that pull us away from being owners and teachers. So hopefully some of these tools will help alleviate some of that. So the first part is we're going to talk about some of the virtual tools that I use to help with just running my daycare center, the benefits of them, and like the different tools that we're going to talk about. Of course, there's my husband. Lord, help me tonight with this. Okay. So one of the things, it saved time for me and reduced cost. So for me, there were some things that I would do that maybe would take like maybe 5 or 10 minutes at a time, maybe emailing a potential parent or updating the website, maybe even posting social media posts like manually. And they were taking time throughout my week. And it may take, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here, and it was adding up to hours throughout the week that, I can be doing other things like being in the community, um, whether it's different committees and things that I serve on, or mentoring in the schools, other things that I want to be able to do as a daycare owner, and even just being able to spend more time with my staff. I'm having like professional development conferences, things from their credentialing program, their individual credentialing journey. I wasn't having time to pour into my business with that aspect of it because I was doing things like updating the website, um, making flyers for closings, just like little things that were taking a lot of my time. And also reducing costs. I found that I was paying staff to maybe, let's say, come up with a flyer for our upcoming, our summer closings. If they don't have the tools, they don't know how to do it, it can take them 2 or 3 hours and then not even be done properly. So to be able to find better tools to either help me do it faster or help them do it faster. Even with this Canva that I'm using right here, that was a big tool, and we'll talk about that. Um, the increased efficiency and productivity because I was able to automate things with some of these tools. I was able to just move a lot faster with things, get a lot more things done, and then that kind of rolls into the improved collaboration. Oh, great. Okay. The communication and the collaboration. And because I could kind of stay on top of things, I know a lot of us would go to trainings and networking events, or even just bump into somebody maybe at the nail salon or grocery store, and they we could be a possible partner for maybe a grant or even just a community event, or maybe they're a resource for my parents or kids. And it just kind of goes to the wayside because I forget, I lose their business card, or I just lose track of it and I just don't follow up with them. And that can be, a lost resource for me, my staff, or my daycare parents. And then that last one of just enhancing customer service and satisfaction, being able to make sure that from start to finish, parents have a great experience. And right now, I'm kind of working on doing the same thing with my staff, making sure that we can automate some things a little easier. So when it does come to credentialing and licensing, we have everything just very readily available, whether it's digital, that's kind of what I'm moving towards for licensing, ideally her being able to come in and have a good, customer experience, so to speak, where she comes in, everything is, on a tablet, and she can just quickly do what she needs to do the walkthrough, see what she needs to see, and just go ahead and go. We want to be able to use technology for all of these different things as well. So I'll come back here. So, okay. So these are some of the tools that I use. And there's some that are, like I said, free. Some of them are paid. Some of them are kind of have a hybrid where you can upgrade and do a little bit more. So the first thing is the virtual receptionist. And I believe there's a slide in there about that later when we get to the like wait lists and things like that. That is a paid service. That is a virtual receptionist. So when somebody calls the center, now our center is an evening overnight center. I got kicked off while Lisa was talking, so I don't know if she talked much about my daycare center, but we're an evening overnight childcare center. So what I was finding was, people would call inquiry during the day, but we're closed. People would try to come by to the center to maybe do a tour or just inquire if we had space available, but we were closed. And I was missing out on money that way because I wasn't readily available to answer a bunch of calls. And I had a great voicemail. It had all the information. We had a website, the whole deal, but people weren't leaving voice messages. They weren't calling back. If I were to call them back, they weren't, picking up the phone. So in 2022, January, I was getting married and I wanted to make sure that I could take the whole week off and didn't have to answer any phone calls. And so I just Googled virtual receptionist, and Posh was the one that came up first. I don't know about any others. I'm just using this one as an example. I pay about $400 a month. So $400 a month is cheaper than having somebody man your front desk. And essentially what this virtual receptionist does is I was able to give them a bunch of information. Here's our website, our prices, if we have openings or not. They can direct them to a wait list. Just, frequently asked questions, our address, our hours, do we accept childcare vouchers, all of those things. that somebody would call and get information about, they can do that. So when somebody calls that number, they pick up the phone, hey, Night Watch, and they can get all the information, and then they take messages. And then there's an app that I download, and I have some screenshots of kind of what that looks like, but they'll give me the information so that I can call back later. And that has increased just the overall engagement from start to finish, from somebody inquiring about our services all the way to actually coming to one of our families. Virtual assistants. So that is something that I do pay for. I have a full-time virtual assistant, and she's been able to help me with my business. Like I stated earlier, the have really awesome teachers that are highly qualified and the kids that are awesome families. They're great, working with the
Amy,
team. Yes.
it's a little hard to hear you. I don't know if it's background noise or what, or a bad signal. I'm not sure. Can everybody else hear her okay?
No, she's pretty muffled.
It's not clear.
Yeah.
It's not clear at all.
No.
Okay.
I could hear most of it, but it was getting worse. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is that better? That's better?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So should I start someplace else or keep moving, or if nobody heard me? What would you recommend?
Are you guys okay with where she's at now, or do you want her to?
Is there anything you'd like me to go back and talk about?
It's okay.
We're going
It's
to send
okay.
you, we'll send you the recording as well. So if you want to replay anything, you can.
Okay. And then I'll also send this this presentation. Anyway, back to the virtual assistant. What I was saying was I said earlier in the presentation, you have these amazing teachers that can do all the things and are great with the kids, great with the parents, but aren't necessarily good at updating a website or even drafting an email to parents or creating flyers or things like that. And it was ending up costing me money and time to train somebody that they're a teacher, they're not a secretary, and they're very different skill sets. And so for me, a virtual assistant was just a no-brainer. It started off about 10 hours a week, and now it's a full 40. And I'll get into a little more detail. Spreadsheets and document management. I used to not very much like spreadsheets. They intimidated me a little bit, and now they are. We plan everything on there. Everybody that has tasks, it's very organized. It's just learning how to use some of these free tools like spreadsheets so that we can stay organized. Everything's in one central location. And it's just definitely helped me just to make sure that all the things are getting done, because it's a lot to run a daycare. And the communication and outreach tools. So being able to use something like MailChimp, that's that yellow one that's there. MailChimp is an email processor where you can load all of your parents' emails into this processor. And this for the basic package, just if all you wanted to do was just email your daycare parents, this would be free. And so what happens is every Wednesday, our parents get a weekly email that includes a little bit about our weekly blog that we have that's on our website. It also gives them a reminder to give us their weekly schedule. We're an evening overnight center, so a lot of our parents have different schedules each week. Some of them have like 4-10s or 3-12s. Some of them are 7 on, 7 off, and some of them are PRN. So this is just a great way for us to get their schedule each week by using something like MailChimp. And also, if parents know they're expecting an email each week, we also put things in there like closings or any other events that are coming up. It's just a good free way to interact with our staff. Our parents. All right. So now I'll dive into a little bit more about how we use these for inquiries and our wait list. So first is that virtual receptionist. So initially what will happen is a parent will call. They'll go on Google, make sure you're on Google. Just because you have a website doesn't mean you're already on Google. So when somebody searches childcare in Salisbury or nighttime daycare in Salisbury, we pop up and they give us a call, and they will call Posh. And, they'll just call our number, and the people from Posh will answer the phone. But again, they'll answer as, this is the Night Watch. So parents, they don't even know that it's an answering service. They think that they work at Night Watch and they're part of the team. And it's able to one, it's 24/7. I get all of the information that I need. I don't have to worry about maybe a voicemail being muffled or somebody else taking the message and then the Post-it note gets lost, or somebody missing the phone call. Like, this is a live person calling or answering the phone at all times. And like I said earlier, when I talked about this virtual receptionist, our engagement rate has been very high, and our conversion rate from somebody being just interested to all the way coming through, because I have them ask certain questions to the parent. Obviously, their name. I want to know how old their child is, which shift are they looking for? Because again, we're evening overnight. So are they looking for like a 3 to 11 shift? Are they looking for like an overnight, like a 12 to 8? I asked them, are they interested in applying for childcare vouchers? That's another question I have them ask. And it really gives all this screening information ahead of time. Sorry. Excuse me. It gives me all this screening information ahead of time so that I kind of know where to funnel parents. Can I direct them to the wait list because maybe we don't have space for that 3 to 11? Or can I go ahead and say, hey, we've got space for an overnight? Or if I know that their child's an infant, then maybe I need to put them on the wait list because those spaces are hard to find. But if they're a school age kid, I'm able to just go ahead and get them in. I also have their email, and I have everything. So what I can do is once a day or every other day or so, get back to all these parents, because what I was having a problem with is a call, and I'm dropping everything to go, follow up with that lead. And this just helps me to stay consistent. It helps me not feel so overwhelmed. So this was something that was highly valuable. And over there in the screenshots, that's kind of what it looks like. You can see where there's like a list of all the people that's called. And then it'll have like little messages, and I can screenshot them, and whether it's for me or somebody else on my team, it just makes it a lot better for us collecting all that information. And again, this is a paid service. I pay about $400, but I think I have like the highest, like the package. But anyway, and I don't have any other experience with other receptionists, but this definitely is an option. All right. And so the setup and the screening process. So having these questions ahead of time. So even if you don't use a virtual assistant, a virtual receptionist, if you do have somebody that is in the front office answering phones, this is a great way to have these questions ready to go. And I would encourage you to use something like a Google form. Again, something completely free that you have questions set up ready to go. I have these questions on our wait list where it does ask name, email, phone number, the shift you're looking for. Are you interested in childcare vouchers? Because at minimum, even if we don't have space, I can always send them information about childcare vouchers. It's just another way that I can add a layer of service and automate it, because I already have these emails ready to go, that I can just shoot them a quick email. And even if they don't use us right now, they're going to remember. And I always open it up. If they have any questions, they can actually book an appointment on my calendar. You can use something like Calendly, which is free, and parents can book a call with you and just answer a few questions. Or at minimum, you could at least direct them to Child Care Central. And I know that they have hours for parents to get some information. So just another way to add some just customer service by also collecting information. Excuse me. Collecting that information and kind of being able to sort out your wait list of potentials, currents, and like I said, even if you can't serve them at the moment, being able to just be able to give them that resource that they're looking for. So this is a part of what our wait list looks like. And I just made this on a Google form, and it's just linked right to our website. I think I might have an embedded form. If you know how to do that, great. If not, that's okay too. Just having a link that says, hey, join our wait list. This is something free. You can also make it that you can have notifications sent to your email, letting you know. So every couple of days or so, I'll get an email, hey, someone signed up on the wait list. And what I really like about this, if you've ever done anything, make sure it's not on the next slide. No. Okay. If you've ever used Google Forms before and you go into responses, there's a little icon that makes it into a spreadsheet. And the great part about that is you can put into a spreadsheet and then you can sort. So let's say, for instance, you ask their name, you ask, they're interested in childcare vouchers, but let's say you ask their age. You can now sort by age. And let's say you have an opening in your 4-year-old classroom or your 3-year-old classroom or a new infant. You can sort those names out and have them at the top and reach out to those maybe, 5 or 6 parents that are on your wait list that have an infant. Reach out to all 5 and say, hey, we've got a space available. Are you still interested? And just a first come, first serve basis. However you do your wait list. But this is a great way, a free way that you can collect the information and then sort it and just make things a little easier for you, just to make sure that the stuff's getting done. So I spoke a little bit about virtual assistants for administrative tasks. And again, I pay a lot less than having to pay a full-time staff to do these things. And like I said, she's really been able to help me run. I don't have to keep stopping to make social media posts or even a flyer. It doesn't sound like it takes a long time to make a flyer for closings, but it does. It takes 5 or 10 minutes, and then it's like, oh, I messed something up, and then I got to email it to this person, and I got to print it and this, that, the other, just to say, hey, can you just make me a flyer? And these are the closings. And she runs with it, and she makes the flyer. She makes the social media post. She puts it on our website. She even puts it on our schedule link, the Google form we send out to parents on Wednesdays. It'll be at the top. So all of those things, they take maybe 5 minutes or so, but that's probably an hour of my time that I get back by her doing that. And she knows how to do it. And if she doesn't, what I do like about my experience with virtual assistants, if they don't know how to do something, if they don't know how to use a certain app, they go figure it out. They're not waiting, riding the clock. They're not doing it, waiting for you to come in and show them how to do it. It just is sufficient. It gets done. Just that secretary clerical skill set is very high. So just some suggestions if you're interested in having a virtual assistant. I found mine on LinkedIn. She happened to just inbox me. And if you're on LinkedIn, you get all kinds of messages from just random people. And she was a random person, and she sent me a link. She sent me her like a Google folder and of all of the things she's made of different graphics and flyers and presentations and websites and blogs that she's done. And then she, we started working together, and I've been working with this one for this summer. It'll be 2 years. And so LinkedIn is a great place to find virtual assistants, just a simple Google search, and then just kind of figuring out like what's in your budget. And what my experience is, if you have a budget, say, hey, look, I can only do $200 a month. They will work with you because they work with at least in my experience, there's like a network of them. A lot of folks are working from home, which is great. And being able to offer that for folks to be able to work home and stay home with their kids. I'm all about supporting those types of businesses too. And the benefit of working with them, like I said earlier, the clerical piece is great. I don't ever have to worry about an email not sounding professional. I know that things are going to be proofread. I know that things are going to be done properly. And it's going to be done quickly in my experience. It's not taking 3 days for an email to be done or a website or a blog. Like, things are getting done quickly and they're being done properly and great. So when working with a virtual assistant, or if there's somebody in your center that you want to, kind of delegate this out to, these are just some tools that I use to make sure that my vision and what I want done is very clear. Because I'm sure if you're in leadership, you have an idea of of how you want it to go. And then you tell somebody, ask them to do it. And then it doesn't really turn out the way you wanted it to do. And then you got to go back and teach them again, and then sometimes you just end up doing it yourself. So these are some tools that I use. So Google Chat, excuse me, Google Chat is free. It's another app with Google that maybe you don't even use. You can't send voice messages that I know of, but I use it a lot with my assistant just to kind of touch base with tasks. If she has any questions, she can send a screenshot and say, hey, what did you mean by this? What did you mean by that? And it helps us to work asynchronously. I don't necessarily, she's in a whole different time zone. My virtual assistant is in the Philippines, and being able to work with somebody that's on the other side of the world these tools are great because I don't have to be working at the same time she's working. She can get things done. I can make sure that I convey the directions. And I've never had an issue of her not understanding, because of all these tools. So Google Chat is just a chat box that you guys can just go back and forth. Like I said, share screenshots. And then this providing clear instruction with Loom. This is another free app. They do have a paid one if you use it a whole bunch, like if you need to store videos. But it's a way to make quick videos on just maybe, 5 minutes or so of video. And I use this to just kind of clarify if it's going to take more than just a text or more than an email. And I want there to be lots of directions, and I want there to, her to understand what part I'm talking about and be able to highlight different pictures and areas of a task that I want her to do. Loom is a great tool. I like Loom because you can put it as an integration into your in Chrome, like an extender. And so you can literally, just like right now, how I'm sharing my screen, you can do the same thing, but it'll record it, and it'll record your voice if you want it to. You don't have to. But like I said, it's a really great way for me to give very clear directions on what I'm looking for. Or instead of me sending a very lengthy email, sometimes just a 3-minute loom, or me hopping back and forth between maybe a couple of pages that she needs to take a look at. And sometimes, if you're able to talk it out, sometimes people just understand it a little better. So these are the two things that I use with task delegation. I use it with my assistant, but I also use it with my, like, on the ground, my center manager. I use this with her too. And she's learning new things, instead of me having to be there over her shoulder or me having to go find a YouTube tutorial. I can just make my own tutorial and use Loom. And if you play around with Loom a little bit, you'll see how it is. Like, I think you can make maybe 30 videos or 25 videos before you have to start erasing them or paying. So like I said, for Loom, that's another really great one. Okay, I just explained all that. All right. So again, it's a great way, especially, and again, not just your virtual assistants and your managers, but even if there's a tool or a quick training you want to do with your staff, this is a great way you could just kind of do it quickly without having to be a whole YouTube video. To me, I just find that you're able to just relay really important information a lot faster without having to do the Zoom and record your screen and then download it and send the video to everybody. This is just going to be a shared link that you can just drop into a group chat, drop into an email, however you communicate with your staff, and they can get the information. All right, so the next part is about organizing information with spreadsheets and documents. So again, as I said earlier, I love Google Sheets. Spreadsheets used to scare me a little bit, but once I learned how to use them, once I learned how to use the tabs properly and the drop downs and the colors and the formulas and all that sort of stuff. I mean, we use them for lesson plans. We use them for our staffing patterns, because our staffing pattern changes every single day because we have different kids and different staff. So that's just something we were able to incorporate for our staff. Using spreadsheets, organizing all these different things. This is just a copy of one of the sheets that I use with my assistant, so she can have all our logins to everything. Just making sure that everybody has what they need. I know this is probably pretty basic. You also could probably do this in Docs, but I like spreadsheets because it's almost like a binder, where if I had one document that had passwords on it, then another document with this, another document that, there's a zillion documents. In Sheets, I can just make one tab that says passwords. I can make one tab for staff professional development, one tab for major tasks, or like whatever my big projects are. I can have them all, and it's in one spot. So I'm not combing through Google Drive. I'm not looking in the cloud. I'm not looking on my desktop. It's all right here. This is what I use with my assistant. So I have the task name, the person assigned, the date assigned, the urgency level, and the status. I also have a little note on the side after status, like if I needed to put anything else, like a link. But essentially, this is how we figure out who's going to do everything. So I have my some of my center staff that are like in person at the brick and mortar. Then I also have my virtual assistant. And so this is kind of like the hub of all the tasks that need to get done. Some of the things are done daily. Some of the things are just like one-time tasks, and then they're done. It also helped me as a leader, is that sometimes when tasks come up, sometimes some have to get done right now, but there are some things that like we probably could wait a couple days. It's not a 5-alarm fire. So this helps me just to not feel so overwhelmed and feel like I need to get everything done right now. Because by going through this spreadsheet, for me, when I'm putting tasks in, I become less stressed, because I'm like, no, this actually doesn't need to get done until the end of the month. So let me put it on here so I don't forget, and we'll put a deadline on it, but I don't need to get it done right now. So this was really helpful for me. And then they'll just mark off if it's complete, or if they have questions, or if I need to review it. Like, these are just the different tabs that I learned how to use. So again, if you want to learn how to use this, so this is Google Sheets, and then where it's the different colors, those are the drop downs. I thought it was pretty easy to learn how to do, but they have a ton of tutorials. So I encourage you to take a look at that if that's something you think that would be helpful. So the storing and sharing of documents using cloud storage, also Google Drive, whichever you prefer, sharing documents with virtual assistants, keeping documents organized and accessible. Because I do use somebody in the virtual space that lives in the Philippines, virtual files are pivotal. It's really important that she can access everything. We can access everything so we can work as a team. So using Google Drive has been really helpful by having shared folders. While I love the spreadsheet goes in a folder. But instead of having a million documents, I have, a couple of spreadsheets that we can put everything in. Also, when it comes to staff paperwork, and that's the graphic we have here, is I want my staff to, take ownership over their professional development. I do meet with them about like the Maryland credentialing program, and we talk each quarter about like, what PAU do you want to do? I help them pick out which type of professional development. We were able to pay for it this year. So every quarter, based off of things that they are interested in, based on things that I see that they may need to kind of meet some of their career goals. Each quarter, they'll have different classes that they need to take. And I want them to have access to their documents in case they need them for something else. If they want to move on and get another job, I want them to have access to it. I want them to know, like, hey, my first aid is about to expire. It shouldn't necessarily be my job to be following up with people about like, hey, this is expired. This is a way for it to hold my staff accountable. So it takes a little bit of work off of me. But to be able to have this one hub where the staff can find their stuff, they know where to put it, we know where to find it, instead of, oh, well, I thought it was in my email, or, oh, I emailed it over to you, you didn't get it. Oh, this is just where it goes. And then we'll also have the paper files too. But I also know, like, if you're working from home, or you just want to look up something, or you're just trying to check, have I taken this class already? Like, oh, I thought I took it. Where's that? Where's that certificate? They don't have to come all the way up to the center. They don't have to ask anybody on property. They can just go into their file. And then the way that we kind of share these is everybody individually is shared with it. So it's not like everybody can go into everybody's folder. Everybody has their own. I think on another slide, it's something about this is how we keep things, secure and private, but just making sure that things are just shared with the proper people. So of course, having a manager or director have access to everybody, but an individual teacher or an aide doesn't necessarily have access to everybody's stuff. And that's any questions.
Any questions? Now's the time to ask the expert. Do you want her to go over anything from the beginning that you guys had problems hearing?
Probably
Hi.
like the first like 5-10 minutes would be good.
I'm sorry? All I heard was 5 or 10 minutes. That's all I heard. What was the question?
Maybe like the first 5 or 10 minutes, if she could go over that. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, let me share my screen again.
Hi, I'm sorry. I came in late just as well. I missed the first 30 minutes of it. I believe it's supposed to last an hour, but anything that you can share, I would appreciate it. I am so sorry.
No, you're fine.
We're also going to be sending this recording out if you came on late.
Wonderful.
So
Thank you.
Listen, you'll get the slides, and you're going to get the recording, so you can go back and watch it again.
Great. Yeah. Sorry, I saw somebody was sitting there. I was talking too fast. So if there's anything that I ran over, by all means, just let me know. So the first 5 minutes, this was just kind of an overview. I was just talking about the benefits of virtual tools. I know, especially right now with daycares, like trying to, save money and trying, we don't have the days where we can just like afford to have a teacher or a staff sit in an office all day. We're pulling them to help cover classes and breaks and lunch and things like that. And it's totally understandable. And that is happening all across the country in daycares. So these virtual tools were able to help me make sure I didn't have to have somebody sitting in the office on the phone, pulling a teacher or even an assistant for a few hours to do some of these, do some of these tasks that I could use some free or just, slightly paid tools. It was able to save some time and reduce costs. Things like writing a blog. So we put out a blog every week. If you've been into any of these trainings with Lisa with marketing about like SEOs and things like that. Blogs are a great way to get people, like when they're Google searching, if you've got things on your blog that they could be searching, like Salisbury Daycare, or ours is an overnight daycare, nighttime daycare. So when people search those things, our blog will also pop up. And that was something I was doing every week. And it would probably take me about a half hour, 45 minutes from start to finish, from coming up with the idea, then writing it, obviously, then proofreading it, then putting it on our blog, and then having a link. And then it was going to an email every week to our parents. And while each one of those tasks like wasn't super long, start to finish, like it was taking me a couple hours each week, from the inception of the blog all the way to the weekly emails that go out to our parents. So being able to find somebody that could do this, and it wasn't going to take them hours, it wasn't going to pull them out of the classroom because they aren't in the classroom, obviously the tools. And then when I talked about my virtual assistant, obviously she's not in the classroom, she's in the Philippines. And so I was able to reduce costs because I didn't have to have more staff to cover the staff that was doing the clerical work. The increased efficiency and productivity for me as the owner, because I wasn't being pulled to do these things like writing the blogs, like sending out weekly emails to parents, letting them know of the blogs, letting them know of events. These were all things that I could automate in something like MailChimp, which I do talk about later in this presentation, that free email marketing software. It was freeing me up to do things like go out in the community and network. I go to a lot of events with Lisa, and I meet folks. I was able to go to UMBS, to their entrepreneur center, and find all these resources. I would not have had the time to do that when I was doing all of these other tasks. So it frees me up so I can do more, money-making tasks. I can do things that are going to help expand the business with networking and serving on committees and things like that. Writing grants, looking for grants, building partnerships so that we can do larger grant programs together. That's how it's been able to increase my efficiency and productivity. Improving the communication and the collaboration. Just a couple of things. I think somebody dropped in there about Calendly. Calendly is wonderful. Even if you just have a very simple, free, basic book an appointment with me, or my professional calendar, it doesn't need to be anything more than that. So when you do go somewhere, that you can just quick hop on your Calendly and have them book an appointment with you. The way that we use Calendly, the way I use it from start to finish, is one, if parents have questions about the voucher program, this Maryland's scholarship program, they can hop on a call with me and I will help the best that I can. Of course, you can send them to Child Care Central. That's not a problem. But I know that my daycare parents, some of them have been with me for a couple of years. They'd rather have a chat with me first, and then we can get a plan, and then I can try to help them navigate them. Instead of us having these back and forth texting, back and forth, trying to get up a time, I can just send them a link and it's not a problem. They can book a call. Having something on our website for tours. Now we are at capacity right now, but when we weren't, you could go on our website and book a tour. So they could, schedule a time to come in. And it was great because I didn't have to worry about, am I not free? Yes, I know I'm free because I dedicate those times throughout the week for tours. And it's just like 2 days a week. And I make sure that it's like that time is blocked off. So that also was helping me increase my productivity because I wasn't having to stop what I'm doing and look at my calendar. Do I have time? And have to cancel on people. It just added that professional polish to it and made sure that I wasn't missing my appointments. I was able to meet with who I needed to meet with. And again, this stuff didn't cost me any money. Calendly doesn't cost money. So that was just a great thing for me. And then enhancing customer service and satisfaction. When the parents could immediately get an answer, whether it's through the virtual receptionist that I talked about, whether it's they can book a call right away. Again, when I was noticing when all I had was a voicemail and people could call or people could come up to the center and we weren't there, not having that follow through, the conversion rate was very low because they weren't going to chase me down, and I'd call them and, maybe at this point they found somebody else because I didn't answer right away. And when I found that we had these immediate ways for them to interact with us, whether it was booking a tour or it was talking to somebody on the virtual receptionist or having a wait list that, link that they could go to right away, it helped kind of snatch them in. And then I can continue with the marketing and nurturing that relationship and hopefully getting them in to be an enrolled family. Lisa, I can't see if there's a chat. So if anybody has any questions, just interrupt me. So
Not
these
right
are some,
now. There's
okay.
nothing in the chat.
Okay. And then again, these were the tools that we used. I was talking about the virtual receptionist. That is a paid service that we use. I love them because they are 24 hours. So it didn't matter if we were open or closed. I didn't have to worry about, if we're in the full throes of, dinner or getting the kids ready for bed or whatever it is, something having to stop, go to the side, take a phone call, answer a bunch of questions with kids being loud in the background. Like I didn't have to do all that. Because then the other alternative is having somebody sitting in the quiet office, just waiting for the off chance that somebody's going to call. Like neither of those are ideal. So having this, it's definitely worth the money, in my opinion, to pay the $400 a month. That's what I pay. That's for Posh. I don't know about any other services. Please do your homework, if this is something you'd be interested in. But again, it added to the customer service. It just made it a lot more efficient. And then they could take the messages, they could help with the screening, like just let parents know, because some parents would call and want daytime hours. And it was a great way for them to say, hey, we don't even take daytime kids. And so that's one less phone call I need to return, because that would happen too. I'd get people calling voicemails and I'd call them back and we're, halfway through the enrollment information. And then they tell me they need 9 to 5. Or, now we're not open on the weekends anymore. We used to be, and they're telling me they need, Saturday and Sundays. And I'm like, and then that's time that's being wasted. So having some of these tools to, you just kind of, vet your parents ahead of time was very helpful. I will go back over the MailChimp. If you didn't catch that the first time, that's the yellow one in the middle on the left-hand side. That is a free email marketing platform. I use it for our parents that we currently have. They get a weekly email. With my staff, I also send them a daily email. So my staff get a daily email because, again, our roster changes every day. Our staff change every day. We have different activities we're doing every day. So it was really nice to be able to send our staff an email every day. It's automated and to say, hey, here's today's lesson plan. And we just have a link to a live spreadsheet that gets updated every day. So the email doesn't change, just the spreadsheet and what the link's going to be. So they can quickly take a look at what kids are going to be there today. What are we having for dinner? What activities are we doing? Who am I responsible for? Who are my team members? Because again, everything changes every day. So it was just a really great way to give everybody kind of run down what's going to happen today for the shifts. And so we use that for both. So I use it for my parents, but I also use it for my staff if I need to just get a lot of information to them routinely and not have to worry about it. Because you can set it in the next year, and then they'll send out an email every day for the next year, Monday through Friday. My parents, they're going to get an email every Wednesday forever. That's just kind of how we do it. But again, since it's automated, I don't even have to think about it unless there's an update and I can just go in to MailChimp and take care of it. I find it's very user-friendly. I've used a couple other email processors before. This one's my favorite because you can do it for free. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. So I feel like I've talked about Posh enough, so I'll move on from that. Yeah, we talked about screening the parents. I use Google Forms, and Google Forms are great because you can ask any of the questions that you want and be able to sort it into a spreadsheet. When you take a look at the resources, you can get an alert sent to your email right away. Or let's say you want an email also go to your director or if you have a center manager, it'll send an alert to them so they'll know to take a look. And then you can sort them out based off classroom or shifts or things like that to just kind of, get fill the classrooms you need to fill. All right, I talked about the virtual assistant, the Google chat. We also use WhatsApp on here. I use WhatsApp for my staff. That's also another free resource. We talked about Loom. Spreadsheets. Again, jump into the spreadsheets. Again, I love them. I use these more than I use Google Forms. I mean, not Google Forms, I'm sorry, Google Docs. Because you can spread out the rows. And so you could put a lot of text in there if you want. I get a million ideas and I want to do them all right now. And I just list them and then I can prioritize them and then I can figure out who is the best person to help move forward with that task. It just really helps me get all 11 million things done at the same time. Okay. Any questions?
I have a question about your Google form that you use for your wait list. Can you share
Yes.
kind of what's on it? I never know what kind of questions to ask.
Yeah. So just simple stuff. Parent name. I ask for the kid's birthday. I don't really ask for the kid's name because I really just need to know what age they are. And then for us, because we are open from 2:30 p.m. to 8:30 in the morning, we kind of have two shifts of parents. So I ask which shift they're going to need. So I don't know if you have something like that. Maybe you have parents that get there at 6 a.m. and leave it, I don't know, 3, if there's any like hour discrepancies. And then I also ask if they're interested in learning about childcare vouchers, like the childcare scholarships. And then so from there, when I'm ready, once I have all that information, I have an email that I've already written out. It already has all the links and everything. So I can just copy and paste that email to a parent that maybe fits the criteria of what we're looking for. If we're looking for 11 to 7, or we're looking for a school age kid, I kind of already have all that, and I know who to email based off of the questions. I hope that's what you were asking.
Yeah, that was perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anything else?
Thank you so much, Amy. We appreciate you. This is great information.
For hanging with me with the technical difficulties. This was not ideal standing out in the rain outside the Panera Bread. But we
Oh
got
my
done.
goodness. And then you're repeating everything. Bless your heart.
It's okay. This stuff has helped me like leaps and bounds this year with my center, just like prioritizing these things and getting somebody that knows how to do them, getting the right tools. And so many of them are free. It's just really about getting the system in place, where I needed to say, oh, you know what, I probably need a wait list. And what do I need to have on that wait list? Because the wait list didn't always have all that information. Just you try it out and if you're like, hey, I probably should have asked another question. Just add the question for next time. It's okay.
And I have Amy's contact information. I put my contact information in the chat. So if you have any questions and we need to get out with her, I can, definitely give you her information so that you can ask her directly. But a couple people joined late. So I told everybody we'll be sending the presentation and the recording. So you can definitely go back and watch it.
All right.
Thank you all for joining thank
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Amy.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Dr. Amy.
Thank you.
Thank you.